Hey, welcome to the Village of Hope and our harvest dessert. It's actually a join the harvest dessert because the key word is join. We are asking you to join us in this harvest. My name's Dave Schlick and I am excited to tell you about the Village of Hope and to give you a little tour today. I thought it wasn't really fair that you guys got to have a dessert and I don't. So I've actually come to Black Bear this morning as we're filming this so that I can get a dessert and enjoy one with you. Good morning. Hey, I'd like to order a nice big piece of pie, maybe a strawberry pie, and a big scoop of ice cream.
A big scoop of ice on the side or on the side?
Well, it's gotta be to go.
Alright, on the side. Here's your strawberry cream pie, and then your scoop of vanilla ice cream is in here. And
So I've got my pie now, and I feel like I'm just one of you sitting around the living room discussing the Village of Hope. So 3 years ago, a group of my friends got together and we founded the Village of Hope International for the purpose of enhancing the work that's already happening at the Village of Hope in Mexico. And our job is to give support to them and to help raise finances to make them able to reap a bigger harvest. And specifically, I am in charge of training and leading teams down to Mexico. So tonight, I'd like to just tell you a little bit more about how you can be involved and how the Village of Hope has impacted my life. For me personally, we've been leading teams for about 20 years down to Mexico. And a few years ago, what happened was I led a team and we were asked by the pastor's wife over and over again, come out and see these people. You have to meet these people. And we were typical Americans. We were building some houses and we wanted to finish those houses so bad, and we didn't want to stop working to go see these people. But finally my wife said, Dave, you've got to get the whole team out there. So all 90 of us went out to this little area just south of Ensenada. And it's basically right above the current location of the Village of Hope. And she wanted us to meet some people who are indigenous Indians called Mixteca. And as we drove out, she told us, be ready. They're very, very poor. But when we drove up, none of us were prepared for what we saw. It was almost beyond description. I had never personally seen that type of poverty before. People were living in little shacks made out of wood and cardboard and whatever they could find. And there was no sanitation, so people went to the restroom wherever they could. And because of that, the drinking water, there was no water systems. And so people lived in a state of perpetual diarrhea and malnutrition. And so when we drove up, these little children came running to us with very little clothes on, and they had those type of bellies from starvation, like you'd see in Africa. I had never seen that anywhere before personally. It was heart-wrenching. But probably the most heart-wrenching thing was the young ladies, the 12 and 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls holding babies, already mothers. And the look in their eye of hopelessness just pierced me. That evening, we got back to the church, and I could tell people weren't ready to move on. We needed to debrief this. So what we did is we got together, we pulled the team together, and we started talking about this. And finally, after about an hour of sharing, one of our leaders said, through tears, she had tears streaming down her face, she said, I can't see this and do nothing. I have to do something. And she did. She came back to Tulare, and she and her husband did fundraisers every week. They got all their friends to donate things. They went back 6 times that year to help the people. And during one of those trips, the pastor and his wife shared his vision for buying a plot of land, about 20 acres, and developing a church and a youth center and a place to give hope to the people that were up on that hill. And so what happened was Tulare Community Church got really involved, and they donated the money to buy the land, and then they built the building, and then we did a kickoff, and that kickoff was like the day of Pentecost. It was like when the first disciples went out and shared the gospel for the first time. There were about 5,000 people at the event. We bought chicken for about 1,000, but the chicken just kept going and going and going, and everyone ate. And then after that, the gospel was shared, and 3,500 people were added to the number that day. 3,500 people came to Christ. It was unbelievable. It was the harvest, God opening up the harvest and really reaping. And so tonight, as you think about joining the harvest, we want to let you know that there are plenty more exciting stories like that to be written, and we want you to come along with us. But first, I want to take you out to Ivanhoe, where I grew up, and I want you to see the farm I grew up on and talk a little bit about the harvest. We're here in Ivanhoe now, in an orange grove next to the house I grew up in. This place brings back so many memories. I lived right down the street from my grandfather, who put this ranch together, and he had oranges, olives, and grapes. And the thing about those three crops is they all have a harvest that happens once a year. And that's what makes harvest so special. That's why we have harvest festivals. You know, it's the most exciting time of the year. You find out if your work was good and what you did paid off. And so anyway, I wanted to come here and talk a little bit about harvest and get you thinking about the harvest that we're all participating in that is actually much more important than that, and that is the harvest of lives and the mission that Jesus has given us. In Matthew 24, it says, 2 men will be in a field. One will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at a handmill. One will be taken and the other left. We're in a harvest that has eternal consequences for those who have faith. They'll be taken and captured up with Jesus, and those who don't, they're going to be left behind. And so I wanted to think about that today as we talk about joining the harvest. Will you join in on something that has eternal significance? This orange grove has fully mature trees. They're about 40 years old. But we've had to replace a few of them, and here's one of the replacements. It's a brand new tree that was planted just this year, and it won't produce a crop for quite a few years. It has a lot of growing to do before it can produce enough oranges to make a significant amount of money. This is an example of a tree that's about 5 or 6 years old, and it has a very tiny crop on it. It's enough to make it worth picking, but doesn't make a lot of money. But when you look at a fully mature tree like this one, it's covered with oranges. There's oranges all over it. Right now they're hard to see because they're green, but in a few months they're going to be ready for picking. And this is the type of tree that represents the Village of Hope. The Village of Hope has finally moved into maturity. We have a full staff there that works day and night to serve the people around the Village of Hope, and to take care of the teams that come in to do ministry alongside the staff. We have 2 sites now. We have a church at the Village of Hope with about 250 members, and at that site we do all kinds of children's activities. We even have a couple soccer teams, and we're going to show you more about that in just a few minutes. But I wanted to point out that now is the time to go, because the harvest is ready, the fruit is grown, and it's time to go. And so I wanted to give you guys an experience of hearing from the Areolas. Their family went on mission with us, and it was something that blessed their whole family. So we're going to go meet the Areolas right now.
Hi, we're the Areolas. I am David. This is my daughter Zoe.
I'm Jack.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Max.
And we had the opportunity to go to Mexico this past spring break, or 2 spring breaks ago as a family.
Yeah, because of the pandemic.
Right. But we were really hoping to go this past spring.
Yeah.
But we look forward to going again soon. And David and I had been a few times before to Village of Hope and loved it and wanted our kids to have the same experience. But I did have some anxiety about choosing for our family to go. And I remember spending some time with God beforehand and praying about crossing the border was what I was most nervous about. And God gave me this picture, and he usually doesn't speak to me in this way, but he gave me this picture of just how he's in charge and how the border officials would be like little toy soldiers, and how God has the power to like flick each of them in obedience to him. And I just remember thinking like, we're going to be okay, and God's taking care of us. And it was a very easy border crossing both ways.
Yeah.
But I think it was a week to remember that we still talk about all the time, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think God taught you, or what was your favorite part about going?
Maybe it was like when we'd all get together right about when we were go to bed, and we just all gather in the worship room, and everyone was just singing their hearts out.
Max, what was your favorite part about going to Mexico?
Well, at first I was like, I don't want to go. And then we went, and I made a lot of friends, and then once it was time to go, I'm like, now I want to stay. I want to stay now.
Yeah.
And it was just super fun because we played a lot of soccer and a lot of sports all time of the day, so yeah.
Yeah.
And you were a little bit sad at first because you didn't want to be gone from your Xbox, huh?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
Xbox. Oh yeah.
So what was your job
Yeah.
during VBS?
I do like
Good job.
a skit kind of for like all the different groups that would come at different times. And then I'd also go play with the kids outside sometimes in the middle, and yeah, that was really fun to do.
Yeah. And Zoe and I got to help during worship. We would dance and sing the songs in Spanish. Remember, we would like
Yeah, that's
memorize
cool.
the dance moves. And I remember it feeling really, like the first day of VBS, I remember being like, because David would be at the construction site. I'd be like, okay, where's Jack? Where's Max? Where's Zoe? And then by day 2, it was just really neat the way that all of the kids took care of each other. So there was a girl, Maddie was kind of in charge of you. She's a couple years older than you, but I just felt so safe at Village of Hope too with our kids.
Yeah.
Babe, maybe share something about the construction site.
Yeah, that's always like one of my favorite parts, getting to use some of my gifts that God's given me. I think the trip itself is just structured really well. Like we all get to use our different gifts to share, the gospel really with the kids over there, and then we all get to come back together like our family.
Yeah.
For me, it was just cool to finally get all of us to go together, because we try and talk as a family, about what God's doing in our lives, but the trip like enabled us to actually put it into practice, like not just talk,
Yeah.
about God, but actually do it, be doers of the word. And it's one of my favorite things that we do as a family together.
Yeah. I remember when we left, Max called it the best vacation ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that in the mornings we have breakfast, and then we all have quiet time. So Jack would go by himself, Max would go by himself, and then Zoe and I
I'd go with Dad.
Oh, you'd go with Dad,
Sometimes,
yeah. And I would do the devotional with Zoe. And it was silent with over 100 people spread out through the Village of Hope, just getting to spend time with the Lord. And so I was just really thankful for that structure set up of like eat together as a family, spend time with the Lord alone or with the littles, and then going out on throughout our day with VBS or the construction site. But it was such a neat thing to do together as a family.
I'm grateful for, too, I guess just the perspective that we get, that our kids get to see the living conditions over there, and just, as a whole, as believers, it does just change your look on life. And there's nothing like serving with your friends, other families. There's just nothing like it until you do it. yeah, it's just a blessing to be around everyone and doing what God asked us to do. So yeah, I would encourage you to go. Don't hold
It's a
back. Don't make
blast.
excuses. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a kid, but
If you're a kid, it's a blast.
no, I'm
Yeah.
just a kid.
And I think too, we talk about this when we think about what ministries we want to be involved in, like looking around and seeing where God's at work and joining in where God is already at work.
Yeah.
And He is so, it's so evident that God is at work at Village of Hope. We got to go 16, 17 years ago, and then now getting to like go with our family is really special.
Yeah.
He's doing
that's-
amazing things there.
That's it's cool to see the vision, because I remember going when they were talking about the Village of Hope, and there was no village, it was just land, you know. And now you go and it's a village. It's really cool to see what God's doing and who God's bringing in to use their gifts. And He really is on the move there. So I like
And it's
It's true.
because of faithful people like you guys that continue to give and continue to pray for Village of Hope. We can't wait to go again.
Yes.
Yes.
It's gonna be awesome.
And we could go to that candy.
And we can go get candy.
Yes, we
Yes.
can go. Yes, we can go to that store and get
love
some
that
candy.
candy.
Oh my God.
Campo Esperanza is born in 2002 with the vision of our founders Francisca Galindo and her husband Mayarino Escobar, pastor of La Hermosa Church in Chapultepec. The Escobar family has embraced and shared the vision and love for the migrant community that comes south of the country, facing many different adversities within this community. They decide to live and serve those who need the most. Without many resources but love and passion to help, they were the start of something big that has impacted the life of thousands, and we want to invite you and to be part of this life-changing ministry. Campo Esperanza versus COVID-19. During the pandemic of COVID-19, hundreds of families had lost their job, and many others only worked few days a week, which has caused the situation to be even more difficult than the one they already live. This is why Campo Esperanza has been more important now than ever. We have supplied more than 450 relief bags, which has helped 450 families survive during this 90 days long homestay COVID-19. Thank you so much for your support. This is why we have been able to help the people that need the most. Campo Esperanza knows the situation that the community are going through, and we are here to give hope and bless the families in their homes. We have helped distribute 450 relief bags plus 300 flyers with information how to prevent COVID-19, 600 warm meals for the families plus clothes and shoes. We know that it's not just giving out things, it is with a purpose to give words of hope and action of love. During all these years, I have seen the hand of God moving in each ministry, in each person, in each heart that has set their eyes on Campo Esperanza, trusting in the work that is being done to help change the life of many that need it, mainly on the kids from our community. All of our staff, volunteers, and cooks share this ministry as themselves. They adopted and work hard every day, knowing the community and getting close to the farm fields and to the living rooms of the migrant camps, and see the conditions that these families live on our surrounding is what melts our hearts and gives us passion to keep working hard for them. We have lived so many different situations through the years, and each day I am convinced that God is the one that has allowed us to show grace and love to this beautiful place. We can see God in the smile, in the hug, and the appreciation every kid and every family has for Campo Esperanza. Caring for the life of the indigenous family from the community, Campo Esperanza receives more than 150 people on the breakfast every Saturday. During the week, we serve from 70 to 85 kids and some adults on daily basis. Thanks to the feeding program, the malnutrition index and anemia has diminished, and we can see tangible results on these programs. As an example of this need, the Espinosa family has shared with us their testimony on how Campo has impacted their family and the importance of the feeding program for their kids. Hello, my name is Hector. This is my wife, Magdalena, and my kids, Jorge Rodolfo, Maria del Carmen, Miguel Angel, and Elizabeth. We are 6 in the family. We are struggling right now because all what is going on with the disease that is going on. My wife and I are only working, and it's not enough. We're earning about $11 a day each of us, and we're working on the fields. But it's not enough. We have to pay water, electricity, the land, and all that. Our kids, with the support we have at Campo Esperanza, they go and eat over there, and sometimes they help us too. When we don't have work, we go over there and eat, and that way we can make it a little bit better. It's good that we have the support from Campo, and we're living from there too, helping us with the little support they give us over there. We make it enough. It's very difficult. Hundreds of families work on the fields with the dream of paying their land and building a home. The circumstances are so hard that they are forced to live under a plastic tarp, working hard for so many hours, and sometimes even with their small children by their side. They go out early in the morning to start working on the fields for a very low income, earning only enough to buy the basics and paying their land. The next few testimonies are some of the many cases that are living under these sad circumstances.
Me llamo Miguel Ángel Santiago Salgado, mi esposa Adelaida Salazar García, mi hijo Miguel, Nancy Marley. Pues estamos aquí pidiendo una ayuda para lo de una ayuda de una casa. Nos dijeron que sí se podía, nada más que nada más cuestión de tener esperanzas, y pues acudimos a ustedes. Mi esposa viene de Guerrero, tiene 3 años, y pues gracias todas las noches le pido a Dios de que pues nos ayuden con una casa, como quisiéramos una casa por este tiempo de frío.
Interested in the integral growth and development of the children of the Mixtec community, we have worked as a team to achieve workshops that increase the social, emotional, and spiritual development of the future generations. These workshops are led by our young volunteers, and they are being leaders or teachers who guide the children in their training. Each workshop needs tools and material to be able to carry them out. Thank you so much for your support to these programs. Computer program. In this program, the kids learn how to use the basic tools from Microsoft, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Also, they learn how to use the internet safely and how to print and present their homework. Right now, we have 15 students learning on how to use the computer correctly. The sports program. Through the sports program, our goal is to reach those kids that are struggling with bad friendships and in the neighborhood. The sport program is a great tool to have fun and be closer with the kids and young from our community. This allows us to have a close relationship with them and being able to share the word and teach them good values. Literacy workshop. Most of the community we serve does not have their primary and secondary studies. Seeing this need, Campo Esperanza opened its doors where they could learn to read and write as well as finish their elementary and middle school. Through the program, 13 students have been graduated from middle school. Recently, we started 2 new workshops, mechanics and carpentry. The mechanics and the carpentry are looking to reach those youth from 15 to 18 years old and to teach them basic skills on carpentry and mechanic in order for them to have better job opportunities or even to make them the main income. If your desire is to do missions with your church, Campo Esperanza is the right place to do it. Due to the relationship we have built with the community around us, we have achieved a very good response from the community to attend these groups by giving participation to visitors and missionaries to interact with children and their families, and leading women's ministry and the vacation Bible school, and doing haircuts to baptizing new believers. Campo Esperanza invites you to share with our community the need of love and hope that they need. We invite you to be part of this ministry. For more than 15 years, I have been walking this land and praying for God to bring hope to the people of this area. When I first came here at the ministry to the Mixteco people, my heart will break to see their poverty, to see the hopelessness that weighed so heavily on these people. But through God's years, God has been so faithful. Hundreds of families that used to live on dirt floors have now received homes. Children who used to struggle with malnutrition now receive warm and nutritious meals. And thousands have come to the saving relationship with Jesus. The economic situation makes it necessary for both parents to work long, hard days in the fields just to survive. Therefore, the older children, instead of going to school, are called upon to do their part by taking care of their younger siblings. Children as young as 7-year-old have the responsibility to feed, change, watch, and protect their infant and toddler-aged brothers and sisters. It is heartbreaking to see these young children have to carry this burden. These children never get to have a childhood. They never get to joyfully skip off to school and learn, to be carefree and play with friends on the playground. It is so sad because a life without an education almost ensures they will be trapped in the exact same economic position as their parents. This is why it is so important that we finish the Village of Hope daycare as soon as possible. This daycare will give a place for hardworking parents to drop off their children each day, and they will know their youngest family members are safe, well-fed, and learning about Jesus. They will celebrate with their older children as they come home from school excited about all the new things they are learning. This daycare is so important to our area because it has the potential to radically transform the future of so many children for generations to come. Please join me in prayer that God will provide all that is necessary to complete this project. The potential harvest of this ministry is so great. Please pray for the Lord of the harvest to help us finish this life-changing project in the coming year.
Hola a todos, Dios les bendiga. Es un privilegio el poder llegar a tu corazón y poder testificar de lo que realmente Dios está haciendo en Campo de Esperanza. Queremos decirte que todos aquellos que están involucrados y que han aportado con sus oraciones y su amor, han sido cosas maravillosas lo que han sucedido. También te queremos animar a ti, si todavía no has tenido esa oportunidad de abrazar esta preciosa visión. Te animo porque Dios es un Dios grande y entre más cosas grandes hagamos, más cosas preciosas sucederán. Dios te bendiga, ahora y siempre.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Amen.
In our final moments together, I want to invite you to join the harvest. Join to come on with us because it's a big harvest. I think about this field right here, this grove, and if I tried to harvest it all by myself, it would be almost impossible. Those of you who know me know I'm a terrible delegator. I sometimes refuse to ask for help. And I could imagine trying to pick this by myself, and after 2 or 3 days I would be totally exhausted, going up and down the ladders 1,000 times, and I would still only have picked 4 or 5 trees. But if we had a whole crew working together, we could do this in one day. And the work at the Village of Hope is big. There are hundreds of thousands of people still to reach. And that's why I want to invite you to come be part of it. I keep thinking back to that illustration Jesus gave about how 50% of the people will be taken and how 50% will be left behind and basically assigned to hell for eternity because they're forgotten. And that would be just like me trying to pick this field by myself and allowing the fruit to spoil on the vine and then fall off and rot and never get picked and never get used for God's glory. And so in the same way, we're inviting you to come, join, and be part of it. Dessert hosts, would you please hand out the Join the Harvest cards and pins right now? And as you are filling those out, I'll give you a little bit of time. Please fill them out nice and legibly. It is our goal to communicate with you often and let you know the great things that are going on at the Village of Hope. So fill those in right now, and be sure to give us an email address, a phone number, and a real address so that we can keep in touch with you. So there are basically 3 ways we want to invite you to join the harvest. The first way is by far the most important, and that is pray. Jesus said, pray to the Lord of the harvest to raise up workers. And so we need each and every one of you to pray to the Lord of the harvest, who's Jesus. He's the Lord of the harvest. Pray that he would raise up people to go and be part of this mission. The second way we need people to be involved is to go. We want to take as many of you down there as possible and let you see firsthand the harvest that God is doing and let you participate in that harvest, to help reap it, to help be part of what God is doing. And it's an exciting move. So if you want to pray and join the harvest, you could do both of those. Check those boxes to indicate that you'd like to be part of that. The third and final way to be involved is to give financially. And this is an exciting year for us because we've had an anonymous giver donate a matching fund up to $50,000. And if you are willing to give, he will help double that money. So not only are you investing in the kingdom, you are doubling the amount that you're investing by giving. This anonymous donor is somebody who wants to use his money to impact the kingdom to the greatest degree. And so he's made one stipulation, and that is that he wants to make sure that every dollar that you give to match his goes directly into our account and none is lost to transaction fees. Transaction fees eat up 3 to 5% of every gift that's given, and our goal is to make sure that every dollar gets down to the people who need it so that we can harvest to the greatest degree possible. Therefore, if you agree to set up a monthly donation that will be automatically deposited into the bank account, so from your account to the bank account, we can avoid those costly losses. And that's part of the stipulation of this matching fund. So how does the matching fund exactly work? It works this way. Let's say you decide to give $100 a month. Your total gift over 1 year would be $1,200. Praise God, that would be amazing. And our anonymous donor would automatically, as soon as you commit to giving that $1,200, he will give us $1,200 to start working with and filling our budget. By the way, our budget for this year is $125,000 to operate for a whole year. Plus, we're trying to raise an additional $90,000 to complete that project for the daycare. We've talked about the daycare long enough. We've exhausted it. We just need to get the daycare up and running so that it can help people. And so back to this idea of giving. If you set up an account for, say, $250 a month, if that's something you have the ability to do, that would be $3,000 a year, and we could access another $3,000 of that $50,000. So our anonymous giver is going to give us as much as he sees the rest of you willing to give, up to $50,000. And that will help us make our budget and complete this daycare project. So I want to give you a few seconds to think about it. You know, Jesus, he told about the soil, the different types of soil, and some soil gives back 30, 60, or even 100 times what is sown. Today we have this opportunity to give in a way that automatically doubles what we're giving before the money's even used. Isn't that amazing? What an amazing opportunity we have. So, if a monthly gift is not something you'd like to do, by all means, we would love for you to give even a one-time gift if that fits your style better. And any amount of money will really help the work that's going on down there. We will appreciate a one-time gift just as much as the monthly donation. It's just that that monthly donation is going to set us up for long-term success and help us to maximize how we use the money. But either way, if God is leading you, we would love to have you join the harvest with us financially. It means so much, and your money will be used for the glory of God. Finally, as we get ready to go tonight, make sure to return those cards to the host. And one more thing, if you've really enjoyed your night tonight with these couples and you feel like you've caught a vision for the village, I'd like to invite you to consider being a host of a dessert at your house. What that would entail is coming up with 4 to 6 couples to invite, praying for them, encouraging them to come and with an open mind and hear about the village, and then host the evening. During the evening, you would just provide a dessert and then show the video and then do your best to answer any questions about that. If you need, we could send a board member also to be part of your dessert and answer any questions if that's something you would need. So we'd love to have you join us that way as well by hosting your own dessert. There's a box for you to check, and I just want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to tell you about the Village of Hope and the exciting harvest that's going on year-round